Hey guys. Okay, so let's talk about something that honestly felt like sitting down with a friend at 2 a.m. You know, when someone suddenly drops a truth bomb and you just sit there like, wait, did they really just say that? Yeah, that was basically what happened when Kim Namjoon, RM from BTS, went live recently and started talking about marriage, loneliness, and all the pressure people, especially women, face around those topics. And I swear, it wasn't one of those idol says something polite for the camera moments. Nah, this was full on deep, honest, raw Namjoon just being himself, reflective, funny, slightly chaotic, and so painfully real. So picture this. It's October 5th. He's live on Weverse. The vibes chill, soft lighting, calm music, Namjoon sitting there just talking. You know how he is, right? Always thoughtful, sometimes philosophical, but this time it hit different. He starts reflecting like, I'm already 32 years old. And everyone watching kind of froze for a second because, wait, RM's 32? Time is flying. Then he goes, if I meet the right person at the right time, I might get married. Or maybe I'll just live alone like this. I don't think there's a correct answer. And right there, boom. He just casually said the thing that so many people have been scared to admit out loud. There's no correct answer. You could feel everyone in the chat losing it. But he didn't stop there. He started going deeper. He said something like, that's just how things are these days. People feel pressured about marriage, and there are realistic aspects to consider. Especially for women, I think society and the media keep pressuring them about having children and other issues. I just wish everyone could live according to their own pace. And it wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. Calm, thoughtful, not trying to lecture anyone, just being real. You could tell he's done a lot of thinking about this. Like, this is the same guy who reads philosophy books for fun, right? Then he went into one of those signature Namjoon thought spirals, the kind that makes you go, he's kinda right. He said, when I think about it, if you can't endure being alone, will getting married really make things better? Because once you're married, there may come a time when you want to be alone again. People are fickle like that. So I think someone who can be comfortable being alone can also be comfortable being with someone. And the opposite is true as well. And at that point, I swear, half the chat was just writing Truth Party over and over again. Like one fan literally wrote, watching the live felt like a nonstop truth party. I agreed with everything he said. Another one said, people don't even understand themselves, and yet they get married and have kids in that state. Of course it ends up being difficult. It was wild. Everyone was relating, not as fans, but as human beings. Then Namjoon got a little playful. He was like, if someone chooses marriage as a way to escape loneliness, I don't think that's the right reason. And then he laughed and added, honestly, I can barely handle raising myself. Having a new life isn't something that goes the way you want. Children have their own minds. When I think about how much trouble I gave my parents growing up, if a kid like me were born to me, oh man, I can only imagine how frustrating that would be. Of course, they'd be lovable too, but still, there's no right answer. And honestly, that part had people cracking up. It's so him. Funny but real. One fan commented, I feel the same way, so I really relate to what he said, and he expresses it so clearly and comfortably. That part about a person who can be well alone can also be well with someone really hit me. Another person said, you can tell he reads a lot and reflects deeply. I love that about him. And then someone else just wrote, this is Kim Namjoon. Like, no other words needed. But let's be honest, this isn't the first time Namjoon has gotten people thinking. He's always been that kind of person. The type who'll be standing in front of thousands of fans one night and then suddenly quote a philosopher mid-concert. Remember when he said, the most important love is self-love? Yeah, that's the same energy here, just more grown-up, more reflective, more Namjoon in his 30s. He even talked about how people from his generation, the 1990s, were the first to see marriage not as a must-do, but as a choice. He said, in a way, for those of us born in the 1990s, I think we're the first generation for whom marriage has truly become an option, not an obligation. So I believe everyone should make their own choice. And it's true. Korea's society has been changing fast, And for him to talk about that so openly during Chuseok no less, when family pressure tends to be at its peak, that took courage. One fan even said, the fact that he openly acknowledged that women face social pressure, that alone is surprising in a good way. Most Korean men I've seen refuse to even admit that. Another wrote, moments like this prove that empathy really is a form of intelligence. I've never seen a male celebrity make statements like this before. Thank you. Like, how many idols do you see getting praised for empathy? That's rare. And then there were fans who just felt proud. Like this one said, I'm proud to be your fan, Namjoon. Another one said, wow, his mindset is exactly like mine. Wow, these are all the things I've always wanted to say, Kim Namjoon. But you know what makes all of this even more meaningful? It's not just the words, it's the growth. Because if you've been around long enough, you'll remember that RM faced criticism years ago for some of his early lyrics. And back then, people were disappointed. But since then, he's talked about how he started reading books on women's issues, even consulting professors, and learning to see things differently. And you can see that growth now. One fan commented, after that big controversy over his past lyrics, it seemed like he started reading books on women's issues and even consulting professors in related fields. And it's clear his mindset has really matured. Honestly, even if part of it were for show, just hearing a man his age talk with that level of gender awareness is almost a miracle in itself. Another added, RM used to be really disappointing because of his past lyric issues, but the more I see him, the more I feel he's grown and changed for the better. He's a great example of someone who evolves and learns. That's what's so powerful about him. He doesn't pretend to be perfect. He just keeps learning, and somehow, that makes people love him more. Then he wrapped up his thoughts in classic Namjoon fashion, deep and poetic, but also low-key funny. He said, I guess I went a bit deep into the topic of marriage, but it's something worth talking about. After all, how much content do we really have in life, right? Things like hobbies, travel, there's no right answer to any of that either. But I do think it's important to build both physical and mental nourishment. Exercise and reading are two things that can truly bring good things into a person's life. And then, with this little smile, he added, if there's anything close to being 100% good, it would be reading books and exercising. Because those two never lie. So yeah, getting married doesn't mean you'll be 100% free from loneliness. Probably not. Tell me that's not the most Namjoon thing you've ever heard. And get this. All of this happened during Chuseok. That's like Korea's Thanksgiving. Families gather, eat together, and sometimes argue about when you're getting married or having kids. So for him to go live right then and say all this? Chef's kiss. Perfect timing. Fans even joked, our president RM just dropped some legendary quotes for the family holidays. Another said, I've never seen a male celebrity speak like this before, in a positive way, but this is just my standard. So yeah, maybe there isn't a right answer to marriage, or kids, or even happiness. But if there's one thing RM taught us that night, it's that being honest with yourself might just be the closest thing to it. What do you guys think? Would you agree with what Namjoon said? Or maybe you've had your own experience with family pressure, loneliness, or finding peace in being alone? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories too. Thank you so much for watching. And if you found this video interesting or comforting in any way, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. See you in the next one.